In the fifth meditation, Descartes again talks about God, and he brings in one of the famous proofs for God's existence, which actually comes from the Middle Ages, from Anselm of Canterbury, which is the ontological proof of God's existence. And this roughly is the idea that God is a perfect being. By definition, God is perfect, so God has all the perfections. Every perfect quality must be part of God, and therefore God must be all-knowing and all-loving and all-powerful, right? All these things must exist to the maximum extent within God. Otherwise, God would not be God, because by definition, God has to be perfect. And if this is the case, then existence, the argument goes, must also be one of God's properties, because a God that does not exist must be less perfect than a God that exists. And if I am to say that God is perfect in every respect, he has all the perfections, then he must also have the perfection of existence. He must have the perfect quality of being actually existing. And Descartes says you can think of it a little bit like a mountain and a valley, in the same way as you cannot have a mountain without a valley, because the valley defines the mountain. In the same way, you cannot have God without existence, because the existence defines God. And then he clarifies, although I cannot think of a mountain without a valley, I still don't know if these things actually exist. But he says with God it's different, because with God we are talking about all the perfections. It's not like a mountain and a valley which have only particular properties, but God has all the properties, and so he must also have existence. And so in this way, he uses this ontological argument for the existence of God. He establishes that God exists, and now he can rest the remainder of his epistemology, of his theory of what I can know, on the existence of God. And we have this here. Descartes writes, "But after I have recognized that there is a God, because at the same time I have also recognized that all things depend upon him, and that he is not a deceiver," that's important, right? And from that have inferred that what I perceive clearly and distinctly cannot fail to be true, and thus I have a true and certain knowledge of things, and the same knowledge extends likewise to all other things which I recollect having formerly demonstrated, such as the truths of geometry and the like. For what can be alleged against them to cause me to place them in doubt? So God is not a deceiver, and because God is not a deceiver, we can rely on him giving us access to truths about the world, and therefore we don't need to doubt these truths. And this is the end of doubt. This is the end of Descartes' project of doubt, because now God is the guarantor of the truth of my knowledge about the world, because he exists and he's not a deceiver. So whatever I think about the world must actually be true. So that was it. There's nothing much more in Meditation 5 which is necessary to understand. And the next meditation, Meditation 6, he will speak about the relationship between material bodies and the mind. So let us go there and see what he writes there. See you in the next video. Thank you.